Hello and welcome to my October TBR video. I'm so excited about this. Not only do we have like cozy reads and spooky reads, we have Victober, which I look forward to all year long. I know I'm not the only one. So many people are excited about Victober. I go a little bit overboard. It's also super exciting because my wrap-up video for Victober of last year, my desire to do that video was what actually pushed me over the edge from just being a consumer of BookTube to being a contributor to BookTube. For me, it's just an outlet for talking about books and finding people who like the same kind of books that I do. And I know that people who come to my channel come eventually because there's something there for them. And I've never, from the very beginning, I have never thought, you know, I need to find my niche or whatever. Like this is just me being me. So if you're here because you're interested in the kinds of books that I read, welcome. And if you're here because you're interested in Victober and this had a Victober tag on it, welcome. And if you're here and you've been here for a long time, hello friend. There are some of you who've been here from the beginning, and that's so awesome. I'm so excited to be here, marking my almost, when I do my wrap up for this video, it will be my almost 1 year on BookTube, and it's been a great time. Okay, so I'm gonna dive right in. We're gonna start with Victober because I know that's probably what a lot of you are here for. So I'm gonna start with Victober. I actually have two different stacks for Victober. One is traditional Victorian novels, meaning they were published in England in the Victorian era. And the other is a stack of books that are published during the years of Victoria's reign, so technically the Victorian era, but outside of the UK, so cannot truly be considered Victorian, but they are from the right years, and I'm going to read both of those stacks. And then I have a third stack of books that are just some spooky reads that I want to read. I have some cozy things on the back burner, but I'm just gonna like intersperse them where I need them. So I'm not gonna do an actual like add them to my TBR. Here we go. There are different prompts that have been given to us. This prompt is for female protagonist. I have never read Romola by George Eliot. I am going to both listen and read to this one. I'm excited about it. It says, I don't even really know much about it. It says that it appeared in 1862 to 63 to high praise. People like Tennyson, Trollope, and Henry James loved it. It's a utopian vision of the position of women. This sounds exactly like my kind of book. Let's see. Her patient subservience to her scholar father Bardo, her unhappy marriage to supple and treacherous Tito, and her passionate intellectual and spiritual awakening take place in Renaissance Florence, which, like Victorian Britain, was caught up in a period of ferment and transition. Sounds fascinating. I'm excited. I'm there for it. I love George Eliot. Yeah. Will it be Middlemarch? I don't know. Will it be Daniel Deronda? I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe it will supersede both of those for me. Stranger things have happened. So I'm reading that for the female protagonist prompt. For city and country, I'm going to use my must read it anyway Charles Dickens pick, which is Great Expectations. This month is Great Expectations. This book takes place in both the city and kind of the country. I'm going to count certain scenes as the country. It doesn't have to be both the country and the city for the prompt, but I'm going to count it anyway. So Great Expectations, killing two birds with one stone. Well, that's scaring away so that they fly away freely, two birds with one stone. Let's not kill things. My Charles Dickens reading goal for the month, and Victober. And we all know Great Expectations, so it's a reread for me. It's the only reread I have on this stack, actually. For a popular author or book from the Victorian era that I've never read, I'm going with The Haunted Hotel and Other Stories by Wilkie Collins. This, I believe, The Haunted Hotel was quite a popular story in its time. Wilkie Collins was a very popular author. I have read Wilkie Collins, but I have not read The Haunted Hotel, so I'm going to count that and The Haunted Hotel. Like, it totally fits with October. Spooky reads. And then for the group read, I got this to read for Victober before I knew what the group read was going to be. I'm going to count it for the group read, even though it's not all of Elizabeth Gaskell's Gothic tales. It's just the one, Lois the Witch. I'm still going to count it as the group read. It is one of the stories that the group read will read in that collection, but I'm not going to purchase that collection. I purchased this. This is the one that I'm super interested in. And it's a book unto itself. So I will be reading Elizabeth Gaskell's Lois the Witch along with everybody else. For the sensation novel, I had a super hard time picking this one, but in the end, I landed on a Mary Elizabeth Braden. I did not love, what's it called? Audley's Secret? I can't remember what it was called. I did not love that one, but I'm gonna give this one a try. This is The Doctor's Wife by Mary Elizabeth Braden. And it says, Isabel Gilbert was not a woman of the world. She had read novels while other people perused the Sunday papers. She believed in a phantasmal world created out of the pages of poets and romancers. When The Doctor's Wife appeared in 1864, Mary Elizabeth Braden was well known for her scandalous bestseller, Lady Audley's Secret. She was pretty scandalous herself, from what I understand. But adultery, death, and the spectacle of female recrimination and suffering are the elements that combine to make The Doctor's Wife, all of that again, a classic woman's sensation novel. Yet it is also Braden's most self-consciously literary work and her rewriting of Madame Bovary. Like Emma Bovary, Braden's heroine, Isabel Gilbert, is trapped in a marriage to a man incapable of understanding her imaginative life, but Braden's novel differs vastly from Flaubert's in the nature and consequence of the affair. So I think that's what drew me to this one, was that connection to Madame Bovary. Madame Bovary is not by any means one of my favorite stories. In fact, I have very little patience for Emma Bovary, very little patience. But it's a story I know well, and so I'm hoping that will be enough to anchor me in this one. Lady Audley's Secret did not have much to anchor me, and I think that part of that was because I already knew the end from the beginning, even though I had never read it. So there was no shock factor, and these sensation novels are all about the shock factor, right? So I hear you where you are right now going, but you already know the story of Madame Bovary. There won't be shock in this one either. Yeah. What can I do? Those are all my books for Victober. And I'm super excited about all of them, and I have only read one of them before, which is Great Expectations. But it's been a really long time. Like, we're talking 20 years since I read Great Expectations. So it's pretty much like reading it for the first time. Now I have my list of books written during the Victorian era outside of England, and I'm really excited about these. I decided to go ahead and do the prompts for these as well. So while I am reading my British female protagonist book, I will also be reading a French female protagonist book. I will be reading Camille, The Lady of the Camellias by Alexandre Dumas. And I'm super excited about this. I have never read anything by him. Looking forward to reading that. Then I have two different books to fulfill city and country. So this one is from Brazil, and I'm going to read Memoirs of a Militia Sergeant by Manuel Antonio de Alameda. And I'm excited about this one. This one is recognized as a turning point in Brazilian literature. I've never read any Brazilian literature, so I'm very excited about this. This entertaining novel of urban manners follows the ne'er-do-well Leonardo through his printed in various romantic liaisons and frequent scrapes with the law. It was printed in weekly installments in 1852, and later published in 2 volumes in 1854 and 55. It's a series of humorous vignettes held together by adventures and misfortunes. So I'm thinking like Pickwick Papers meets Jane Austen. I don't know. I'm excited. It's a comedy of manners told in small vignettes, humorous, Brazilian, and I'm excited. Then for country, I'm so excited about this one. One of my very favorite books of all time is Dracula. And I just recently learned, I think maybe 2 years ago, that there is this Icelandic translation, and I put that in quotation marks because it's not actually a translation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. It actually is a complete and utter rewriting of Dracula. And the people in Iceland didn't know that they weren't reading Bram Stoker's Dracula for many years. And the people in the world didn't know that Iceland had their own version of Dracula thanks to the translator. So I'm really excited about reading this one. This is The Powers of Darkness, the lost version of Dracula. It says, in 1901, Icelandic publisher and writer Vladimir Asmundsson set out to translate Bram Stoker's classic novel of Dracula, called Makt Mér Krana. I'm sorry if you speak Icelandic and I just ruined that. This Icelandic version was unnoticed outside the country until 1986. When Dracula scholars discovered Stoker's original preface to the book. It was not until 2014, however, that noted Dracula scholar Hans Cornel de Roos realized that Asmundsson hadn't merely translated Dracula, but had rather penned an entirely new version of the story with some all-new characters and a reworked plot. The resulting narrative is one that is shorter, punchier, and rivals the original in terms of suspense. So I am really excited to read a brand new old Dracula. 1901. It just fits in that Victorian period. So this is what's going on in Iceland at that time. Cracks me up that this exists. And then a book I've always wanted to read but have never read. This is what I've chosen for my popular book. This is The Red and the Black by Stendhal. I've never read this. So, handsome, ambitious Julian Sorel is determined to rise above his humble provincial origins, soon realizing that success can only be achieved by adopting the subtle code of hypocrisy by which society operates. He begins to gain advancement through deceit and self-interest. I am really looking forward to this. I've heard a lot about it over the years, but have never read a single word, and I want to remedy that now. For country, that was popular. That was country. And I had city. I have a second country, apparently. I want to read it. I'm going to read it. I wanted to read this for a while. I've had it on my shelf for a really long time. This is Frank Norris's The Octopus, and this is from the United States. It's based on actual events, a bloody dispute between wheat farmers and Southern Pacific Railroad in 1880. The Octopus is a stunning novel of the waning days of the frontier West. So I am going to read this. It fits within the Victorian era, even though it's not from England. And even though I picked 2 country things, I don't know. I want to read them. I'm going to read them. And then finally, also from the U.S., this is not a sensation novel, but it caused a sensation. I am going to read Clotel, or The President's Daughter by William Wells Brown. This is from the United States. And what this is a story of the United States president if he were a black man and had a black daughter. And it was written in 1880, I believe. Let's double check that. Even earlier, 1853. So, I keep putting my sticky note back on here. So, I am excited to read this. This one also comes with, this is like a school text, which I'm totally cool with. It also comes with a lot of different essays. So you've got the complete text and then the cultural context essays. Excerpts and essays from the current day and from contemporaries addressing the contents of this novella. So I am excited to read the novella and a lot of the cultural context stuff as well. Do you like to read cultural context stuff? I really do. Like, if it's not made available to me, like this conveniently does, I often will go online and find it myself. I like a bigger picture. All right, so that's my huge Victober stack. I am counting all of those books, the ones inside England and the ones outside England, as Victober. And some of those I'll be listening to on audio. Some of them I will be reading, just straight up reading without audio. And most of them I will do a dual listen and read at the same time. And that way I always can make it through, for me, what's the hardest part of the book, which is starting it. Starting a new book is always the hardest part of the book for me. And I think that's probably true for a lot of readers, especially if it is taking place in a world or a time that you are not currently in or not intimately familiar with. So if it's set in a new country, or if it's set in a fantasy land, or if it's set in the past, it can be hard to get into because you have to really pay attention to understand the world and the rules. Different cultures have different rules, different countries have different rules, different time periods have different rules, and fantasy lands have different rules. So when somebody tells me that they love fantasy but they don't like historical fiction, I wonder at that statement. Because they're the same thing. Essentially, they're the same thing. So, but I digress. I do have one more stack of books going on my TBR, and these are spooky reads. So I want to read, maybe not all, but some of Edith Wharton's ghost stories. I love Edith Wharton. She's one of my most depressing favorite authors ever. But I'm really looking forward to reading some of these ghost stories by her. Never read any of her ghost stories. In fact, I don't think I've ever read any of her short stories. I think Summer, which is a set of novellas, or vignettes, kind of. It's not a novel, that I can tell you. Is the closest thing I've read to her short stories. Ethan Frome is a novella, but it still feels like a novel. So short stories will be interesting, and ghost stories. I know I've read a lot about her and her life, and I know she really did believe in ghosts. So I'm excited to read that. Then I want to read The Test. This, talk about novellas. This is a short little guy. Big writing, big margins. This will be a very quick read. I've seen so many people read this, but I originally got this because I saw Emma at Drinking by My Shelf read this in one of her vlogs, and she talked me into it. So I'm going to give it a try. I started this a couple years ago and never finished it. I got to page 30. Marked it with my little Pimberley man right there. I think that's Darcy. And then never picked it back up again. I just got distracted. I moved three times. I've moved 3 times since I picked this up last. I gotta stop moving, people. But I moved 3 times since I picked this up last. I just got distracted. I do really enjoy Hester Fox. And so I want to read this. I want to get it off my shelf if I don't like it. And I want to know that I love it and look at it fondly if it stays on my shelf. So we're going to read The Widow of Pale Harbor. I have this, it's all damaged, but I have this, Daughter of the Witching Hill, a novel by Mary Sherratt, which I would like to read. I don't know anything about this. I just picked it up because it looked creepy, and it looks like I got it from Better World Books. In Daughters of the Witching Hill, Mary Sherratt brings history to life in a vivid and wrenching novel of strong women, family, and betrayal, inspired by the 1612, this is why I got it, the 1612 Pendle Witch Trials. If you've never seen the BBC documentary, or it might be, I don't know if it's BBC. If you've never seen the British documentary, The Pendle Witch Child, you're missing out. You really need to watch that. It's about an hour long. You can find it on YouTube if you don't live in the UK. Hopefully it's not up illegally. It's one of my favorite things to watch. And they taught me a lot about the Pendle Witches, and I was especially interested in the Pendle Witch Child, who was the first child to give like spiritual evidence of being harassed by witches. I can't think of the right word. Anyway, the first child to give that kind of evidence and be believed. Eventually, she herself is also accused of witchcraft many years later, after having her mother and grandmother committed for witchcraft, which is super sad. Yeah, anyway, I got interested in them for that, so I'm sure that's why I purchased this. This is about the Pendle Witches. Oh! My book stack just fell over on the floor. That'll be fun to pick up. I want to read this one, which I've had on my shelf for a while now, and I think I've put it on 3 or 4 different TBRs in 2021, and I just want to read it. I don't know why I don't read it. I actually do want to read it. So I'm going to read the Sawkill Girls. I think we all know what the Sawkill Girls is, but it's on the back. It says, who are the Sawkill Girls? There's Marion, Zoe, and Val. Their stories come together on the island of Sawkill Rock, where gleaming horses graze in rolling pastures, cold waves crash against black cliffs, kids whisper the legend of an insidious monster at parties and around campfires, where girls have been disappearing for decades, stolen away by a ravenous evil that no one has dared to fight until now. So I do want to read this. I really do. I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. Then I have this ARC that was sent to me, which is, I started reading it and then I was like, ooh, this would be so good for October. So I'm going to read it in October. It does not come out until November, so it's perfect timing. And this is called Hello Transcriber by Hannah Morrissey. Hello Black Harbor, Hello Killer, Hello Detective, Hello Transcriber, where kids are thrown away like yesterday's trash, heroin needles blanket the street, police transcriber Hazel Greenlee listens as detectives divulge gruesome secrets of this crime-ridden Wisconsin town, and then her neighbor confesses to hiding the body of a 9-year-old overdose victim in a dumpster. The suspicious death is linked to Candyman, a notorious drug dealer. Now Hazel has a first-row seat to the investigation as she becomes captivated by the lead detective, Nikolai Cole. How far is she willing to go for a good story, even if it means destroying her marriage and luring a killer dangerously close? So, super creepy vibes. I mean, it's an ARC. It's not necessarily the thing I would normally buy, but it is like something I would watch on TV. So, I am excited to give that a try. Then I've been saving this. I purchased this months ago, but I've been saving it for October. This is the Manning Tree Witches. I did read an ARC of this and absolutely loved it, so I know I'm going to enjoy this. I don't love ebooks that much, so when I read an ebook that I actually like, I get it in physical format and reread it because I find I get so much more out of it. So the Manning Tree Witches, this is not a brand new story to me, but it will feel brand new because I'm reading it in a different format. Anybody else like that? And finally, I've been saving this one. I put it on a couple of different TBRs over the last couple of months. I think I got it in July, maybe June. No, I got it in June. It arrived in June because I'd pre-ordered it. And I started reading it and then was like, this isn't the right, like, feel for it. The vibe is not right. And then I started seeing people give it really negative reviews. But I don't care. I don't want to be swayed by other people's experience. I want to read it for myself. I was enjoying it. It just wasn't the right vibe, right? It was summer. It was bright. It was airy. It was fun. All the books I was reading were lighthearted. This was not lighthearted. So I'm going to read The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I adore Grady Hendrix. And so I am really looking forward to reading this, regardless of what other people have said about it. And I think October is the perfect time to read it. And I hear that there are a lot of references to horror movies, and since it's October, maybe I will watch some of those while I read it. And that might be super fun. It might be super scary too, but it also might be super fun. Anyway, that is what I have for October. I would also, that's 19 books, I think. Is that 19 books? Many of them big Victorian novels, so I think this is probably all I'll read this month. But yeah, I think it's either 19 or 20 books. But if I find myself with a little time and no books, dare I say it? I don't know if I dare say it because I said it last month too and it didn't happen. I might pick up House of Leaves. I'm 50 pages into that book and I want to read it. Those 50 pages haunt me still. I need to move forward in it, or I need to let it go completely. And I'm not interested in letting it go completely at this moment, but I can't have it just sitting there glaring at me. But I can't have it glaring at me, and I don't want to not finish it, but I also don't want to read it. I got problems. House of Leaves. I will maybe pick that up. If I don't pick it up, I'm definitely not going to pick it up in November and December. I don't think. Never say never. Hopefully I'll pick it up, and let's make a goal to finish it before 2022. That might mean reading it on New Year's Eve. I don't know. Have you read House of Leaves? Have you tried? It's the only book I've ever read that people post, like, or tried to read, that people post, like, game plans for. Like, here's how you get through House of Leaves. You start here and you move here. Like, people have to give pointers for how to read this book. And that intrigues me, but also it just makes me think, like, how pretentious is this book? We'll see. We'll see what happens with House of Leaves. It's sitting right here on a stack on the floor, staring at me. Yeah, it's creeping me out. I'm gonna go. I gotta go to work. This will go up later today, and I hope that if you're doing Victober, that you were inspired, or maybe I'm reading something you're reading. Let's talk about it. And B, October is just around the corner. Do you read spooky books during the month of October? Do you watch scary movies, or do you avoid those things? I have lots of friends that avoid those things. Hocus Pocus is maybe the scariest movie some of my friends watch. Which for me, that's just candy. I love a good scary movie. So yeah, anyway, let me know. I'll talk to you later. Bye.